Greetings once again, my fellow Ark Hunters. This is CB2001, otherwise known as Chase Loneheart, coming to you live from the crater, and we're going to be talking about my camera glitch. Well, you're probably thinking, wait, didn't you already talk about your camera glitch before? Yes, I have. I've done, the video and the write-up on it. And of course, I want to thank Clubside for, suggesting that I do an actual write-up on it and for hosting it on his site. But I've been introduced to an alternate method thanks to a good clan member who, he discovered this alternate method to the camera glitch that I'm going to end up naming it after him. So, Bennett, thank you for sharing this information with me. I want to say you're awesome, and I'm glad you discovered this, and I'm glad that you're sharing it with me so that way I can share it with others. And in fact, your methods actually gave me an idea for something that I discovered a little while back. But I'll cover everything as we go along here. So the first thing we're going to do is cover Bennett's method for the camera glitch. Now, first things first, Chase, stand up and say hi.
Hey, friend.
There we go. Now, as you can see, basically, Chase was, crouched down out of the way. But when it comes to Bennett's method, it starts off similar to how we do the camera glitch. So the first step that you're going to do is your prep work. Finding the spot where you're going to be taking your picture. To place your characters back up against certain items. Then you set your HUD. You change your graphics settings to shrink the HUD. And you unequip all your weapons, just like I previously detailed in the previous camera glitch video. Now, of course, Bennett told me that you're able to do this particular, his method, his version of the camera glitch, with any weapon in your hand. But I chose to unequip the guns, so that way, when it comes to crosshairs. Each gun has some certain guns have specialized crosshairs that are different from that are different from this one. And so as a result of unequipping your gun, you don't have to worry about those special crosshairs turning up in your shot, being in the way, and making it a little bit more of a hassle to edit out if you're doing pictures, or be in the way for and distracting for the viewers if you're doing video. Okay, so after you got the prep work set, the first step is similar to the previous camera glitch video. You're gonna go and you're gonna get into position. You're gonna find something to put your back up against, which in this case we're gonna use this car again, and of course the camera's gonna go along this side just like before. Okay, and you're gonna turn. You're gonna look at your subject. Okay, now as you can see, the camera is much closer than it was before. Now for Bennett's method, this is where Bennett's method comes in that differs from the previous one. You're gonna hit your control key. You're gonna hit emote, and then you're going to select scan crouched. Boom. Now as you can see, player character is out of the way, and you get a good view of your subject. Now, and of course, you do get a little bit of wiggle room here. You can look a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, but just be careful not to go too far down or too far to the left or right, because not only will you end up with your player character popping up in frame. If you go a little too far, it cancels out the animation in addition to that. Now, of course, the camera, as you can see, it's keeps, when doing Bennett's method, it keeps the camera at eye level. So right there is what what the camera looks like at eye level, which means that this is straightforward view. So if you have someone standing right there, and you do Bennett's method, they'll be looking straight forward, at, straight forward instead of you looking up at them. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here's again the camera at the eye level. Now, here's the method that I suggested before, where you're crouching down and then you aim up. As you can see, it's clearly noticeable that the camera's a little bit down and it's aiming upward towards the subject. And of course, again, even though it gives you a little bit more wiggle room, again, and of course, you also have your crosshairs that you can use for the crouched method. Unfortunately, for Bennett's method, if you're doing the emote here, so if you're doing Bennett's method for the emote, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to do the crosshairs to zoom in because it cancels out the emote also. But it does help out if giving you on how high or low you want your camera to go. So if you're wanting to do your camera at eye level, you can do Bennett's method because this looks good, and of course you don't have to worry about staring up your player characters that are acting as your actors' nose, and it looking up at those disgusting nose hairs. But I'm just playing around, of course. Now, I will say, thanks to Bennett's method, it made me realize something about something I came across. Now, I came across this and I discussed this in the Discord a while back. In fact, someone said that several other people figured out how to do this, and I wasn't even aware of it. But now, with Bennett's method, it actually improves. So, what you're gonna do for this, for doing, like, if you're doing a close-up on someone, well, let's say this NPC here is our actor, or PC actor. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go around to behind them, and you're going to position your camera and yourself a little bit to where they're in front of you. Now, as you can see, like right about here at this angle, boom, you got a good up close shot. Now, here's the drawback with just standing, going with this as it is. Now, the NPC, whenever they move around, you can see the player character behind them, which is something that you will probably encounter if you're doing a player character that's acting as your actor, and if they decide to initiate an emote or even just like slightly move, turn their body, basically the player character that's acting as your cameraman would show up. Now, if you go with Bennett's method, now as you can see, you can't see your player character as your cameraman. And it gives you a little bit more wiggle room to be able to position, your camera. Of course, again, it still continues to work depending on. You might have to do a little bit of repositioning to get like a good angle, a good view. But now you got a good up close view of this NPC who was acting as our actor in this particular instance. And now you can utilize this particular shot. Okay. Now, the best thing about this Bennett method is that it works without for doing like the close-ups. Now you can have your player characters do conversations with without having to worry about trying to figure out where to find a spot to push your back up against to move your player character out of the way. You can actually just have your subject in between your player character and your camera, close enough to be able to, anywhere. So like I said, like right here, that's a good example of the close-up. And of course you could also do it like right here along this line with the previously, discussed, like, like if you're wanting to have a conversation. I pointed out the problem with you're able to get like one angle to do the, to do like for a conversation, but when it comes to the other angle, there's nothing close enough to put your back up against. Now you can do the close-up version of it, like so, thanks to Bennett's method. There we go. Alright. Okay. Now that is, Bennett's method, as well as how to do close-ups. And, again, Bennett, you're awesome. Thank you for sharing this with me, and I'm glad to be able to share this with everyone else. And it is things like this that, Bennett sharing this bit of information on the alternative method of being able to get a picture, to move your player character out of the way to be able to get pictures and videos, that puts a smile on my face. And the reason why I say this is because when it comes to machinima, a lot of the times it's, figuring out, solutions to problems and, sharing them. And it's because of discoveries like that that help out in being able to create machinima. A great example of that is the Halo machinima series Red vs. Blue by Rooster Teeth. Now, keep in mind, when Rooster Teeth first began, they were just, a couple of friends playing around on Halo. Now, one person, and of course, two things happened that sort of started the ball rolling. The first thing was that one person noticed how you could use a tank barrel as a camera dolly. Hey, that's cool. But the second thing that someone else noticed is that when it comes to multiplayer, if you have one person aim their gun down to point at the ground, and another player is looking at them, they notice that there's a glitch in the animation where it raises the head of the player that's aiming downward, and by moving the cursor up and down, it makes the head bob to make it look like that they're talking. And it's because of those two things that ended up starting off Red vs. Blue, which in turn also started off Halo machinima, and it continued to expand with each version of the game, which led the gaming company to add more and more features that could be used for machinima makers, which included the option to lower your gun in a more relaxed stance, but still be able to do the head bob. That also included things like build mode that allows you to build sets and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's going to be happening with Defiance. Fox Games is a small company, but this method and these details about the glitch, the camera glitch, is what is useful. If you're into taking photographs, you can use the camera glitch and Bennett's method, or if you're shooting video and you're wanting to do a comedy series, you can do that using Defiance now, and hopefully maybe in a long enough time frame, if there's enough demand for it, that Fox Games may give us some extra tools for us to be able to use to make more machinima and make it more interesting. But for now, it is these small things that have helped out in, that can help us out in making machinima. And by making machinima, it also helps us promote the game, and it also helps us as a fan base continue to tell stories about Defiance, utilizing the game Defiance, since the show is no longer on the air. Now, I've also got some examples that are about to come up too, and I thank y'all very much for your time. I look forward to seeing what y'all guys do with this. Okay, don't be afraid to take these these tutorials and run with it. I really do want to see what y'all guys come up with. And I look forward to seeing what y'all guys come up with. Okay, y'all can, and that's about it for now. So y'all can have a great day. I'll see y'all around the bay. I hope things continue to go well on the other end of y'all's computer screens. Defiance!